Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Inside the Circle. We've been joined by another very special guest, a player that you may know from clubs such as Almeeres, Kampong, 139 caps for Holland, including 8 goals as well. I did not have enough room in my small box for the amount of international achievements this man has already. There's a gold in the Paris Olympics, quarter-finalist in Tokyo, a bronze and a silver in the World Cup, a Champions Trophy, 3 goals from the Euro Hockey Championships, a bronze as well, and notable achievements off the international stage as well. We have Golden Stick winner for Kampong, a winner with Kampong in the 23-24 season. He aided Almeeres Hockey Club with promotion into the Hoofdklasse, a bachelor's and a master's in finance from the University of Amsterdam. And you may know him as Jonas De Geus. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, that's no problem. Thank you, Sam, for having me. And I can see you did your research. Nice of you to also include Almeeres promotion, because it's been way back, but it's still a very nice achievement. So thank you for that.
No, absolutely. When I was doing my extensive research for all of this, it came up that you've always played for them as a junior, or going through the junior ranks up into senior, and then yes, you got the promotion to Hoofdklasse, and that was I could not put it down. I think it was brilliant. Was that your childhood club, as I would say?
Yeah, it was. It was the club I started playing at when I was I think 6 years old. My brother played at Almeeres as well. My younger sister also has played for Almeeres. So, like basically all my best friends, they come from Almeeres. So you can definitely say it's been my childhood club, and even beyond that. So.
Oh, cool. And was it something that, again, through the bits and pieces that I've been able to read and get some information on you, it sounds like you started just playing hockey out in the street and then went, maybe give this a go. Is that how it all happened?
Yeah, kind of. So, like I just said, my older brother, he used to play for Almere, and like we lived next to a school, so there was a big square where we could play hockey, and a lot of my friends lived in the neighborhood and also played hockey. We were teammates like our entire youth, so we basically just started to play at the streets, with old sticks, and that's where it kind of started, and we kept on playing in the streets when we were playing for the club as well. But that's where it started, and I think it's quite common. Like you have an older brother who plays hockey, you kind of follow him, you go along with the training, and so that's the start of it all.
Oh yeah, because it's the same over here. We tend to have a lot of parents that, well, certainly for me, it was my dad. He played hockey, so it was like, and my mum, and I was like, right, well, let's give this a go then. So yeah, it's always good that family can bring up siblings and sons and daughters into hockey clubs, and with that, how long did it take? So from joining to get right through, and several underage teams before then you were able to get onto the ones or the first 11 there.
Yeah, so I think like I said, I started to play when I was, I think, 6. I think you're allowed to join a club at 6 in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I made my debut when I was 16. So there you have it, 10 years. So I just played in all the youth teams, and then at 16 made my debut when I was also still playing for the under 18s. But yeah, the beautiful thing from Almere was that we played with a lot of guys who had played their entire life at Almere. So, for example, a few of my teammates I got promoted with, they were my coaches when I was in the under 10s or something like that. So, that was a really nice family feeling that you had at Almere, because everyone knew each other so well and played for Almere so long. So I have warm feelings for the club. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And then through all of this, I was able to have a look and look the club up. It looks a beautiful club. The clubhouse in the middle with the is it the four hockey pitches that are there?
Yeah, yeah, you have four like around the clubhouse, but they've added a fifth, a sixth, and a
Oh wow!
seventh. But
Oh wow! Okay.
that was like during the boom of the Almeeres Hockey Club because they opened another club in Almere, so the member amounts are going down. So that's a shame, but yeah,
Mm.
it's a really nice club.
Yeah, it looked very beautiful, but going from one beautiful club to a pretty other spectacular one in Kampong. Again, I've had the joys of being over there and seeing the place, and it's different altogether. So it is.
Hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, especially with the clubhouse that's there now. It's been there for a few years. It used to have like a really old clubhouse, which was also nice, but like the facilities now, they're amazing, and they're one of the few clubs in the Netherlands, which is called like a omnisports. I don't know how you want to call it, but they have cricket, tennis, soccer, cricket. They have a lot. So
Wow.
a bit like in Argentina, they also have the big clubs with every sport.
It's like a big sports club.
Exactly, and that's not really common in the Netherlands, but it gives it a nice vibe, a nice feeling, and yeah, like I said, the facilities are amazing. So that's a really nice club as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so obviously at this point in time you're off on your winter break. How's that all going? Are you enjoying having a bit of time off?
I'm definitely enjoying having a bit of time off. It's been a very nice year, but also a very busy year. So yeah, the winter break was really nice and or still is really nice. The
Yeah.
only thing is I'm still rehabbing my knee because I've had some knee problems over the past few years actually, and well, this winter break I'll try to do anything to get back to playing without pain. So I'm
Yeah.
still busy on that front, but it also gives me energy that I now have the time for it and can do it properly.
Brilliant. And is when does your winter break end? Middle of January time?
Yeah, so it depends. Like for the club hockey, because we go indoor, but
Hmm.
I don't go indoor for my knee now. But like usually the internationals, we start in like the beginning of January, and mid-January we leave for Australia for pro
Hmm.
league matches and to do some training. I'm still doubting if I can make it to Australia because of my knee. It's still
Yeah.
yeah, we don't know yet. But with the Kampong squad, so the hoofdklasse, so we start at the 4th of February.
Okay.
Just our preparations for the second half of the season.
Okay. So yeah, it's a good break then that you do have. Ordinarily, if full health, knee was in perfect working order, would you have done a bit of indoor as well, or is it just a stick to the outfield or outside stuff?
I might have. I'm not sure because yeah, I think you could play like 2 weekends or something like that. Because there's also the Christmas break that the indoor season is also
Hmm.
they're also not playing. But it would have been a lot of fun for sure. I really enjoyed indoor when I was younger. But unfortunately, when you play in the senior squad, the national team, you don't get to play indoor, and it's a shame. But yeah, it's the way it is, and
Yeah,
I did really enjoy it. Yeah.
yeah. And then pivoting away from that, obviously with then the Dutch national team, what was that like going into the holy grail of hockey at 18? It's an incredible feat. What was that like just as an 18-year-old going into one of the best teams in the world?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a really nice experience. I think I was kind of lucky that my first trip with the Dutch squad was to South Africa, and a few of the big guns, let me say it like that, they were in the Hockey India League. So we went there with
Yes.
a huge group, I think of 30 guys or something. So I think it kind of I think the level was a bit lower than when all the other guys from the India League they would have been there, but still there were guys like Valentin Verga, Mirko Pruiser, Glenn Schuurman. So guys you always look up to, especially for me, Valentin Verga. He also comes from Almere. I've played with his
Hmm.
younger brother my entire life. His dad had coached me my entire life, so he was, of course, a guy I looked up to. So it was, yeah, definitely really exciting. And like I said, I think I got a bit lucky that the level might have been a bit lower than normally. But in March, when we started to train again, all the guys came back again from India, and yeah, it was. At times it was kind of mind blowing, like the tempo and the skill of some of the guys. Um, so yeah, it's a crazy experience for an 18-year-old, but really really nice.
Yeah. And was that just compounded by the fact that you then go on to win the Euro Hockey Championships on home soil as well, in the Netherlands? That again, what a year!
Yeah, that was definitely crazy because I was in the squad and I was just happy to be in like the training squad, not really getting my hopes up, And then we had the selection for the Euros, and I was there, and I made the selection, and yeah, it was my first tournament. Oh no, it was my second tournament because we had the World League in London as well that summer. But was my first big tournament, and to play in front of a home crowd it was amazing because the Dutch know how to organize a tournament because there were a lot of people, and for me it was like a bit of an experience, like just play. Like if we lose, no one will look at me. You know what I mean? And
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
just go along. And then yeah, we played the crazy final where I don't know if you remember, but Robert Kemperman, he scored a crazy goal. He almost smashed it through the helmet
Yes.
of Van Asch. And then the crowd just erupted and went crazy, and we ended up winning. So that was definitely one of my best experience on a hockey pitch. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, uh, there's no pressure, quite like home pressure, and then it's sort of amplified by the fact that it's Dutch home pressure and the sort of Orange Army that follows the national team around. Like skipping forward a bit, like you can see, like Paris was effectively washed in
Yeah.
orange for that final anyway. Um, what's that like, having just the crowds that will always come out and support the hockey team, which I think is fantastic. Both the men's and the women's, it's such a great
Yeah.
following to have.
Yeah, how is it like? It's like you say, it's fantastic because of course as hockey players we're not used to playing in front of these big crowds that you might see at the football stadiums. But no, it's definitely nice because you can really feel the energy of the crowd and the people just going crazy when someone scores a goal or gets a corner or stuff like this. And I think it's always a special feeling to gear up for your country, but in front of a home ground, it makes it even more crazy. And as you mentioned, the Paris Olympics felt like one big home tournament to us, especially not not,
Yeah.
not the first, or I think the second match against France, because that was also crazy. There were a
Yes.
lot of French people, and when they sang their anthem, it was also a really nice experience. But yeah, it's really nice to feel the energy of the crowd, and you really kind of go with it, and it lifts you up. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And suppose then going from that Euro championship straight into the next year, into that World Cup year out in India. Yeah, it was out in
Yeah,
India,
it was. Yeah.
and I'm sure that was then a completely different atmosphere and experience altogether. What was that like?
Yeah, it was my second time in India, but yeah, I think always every time you come to India, it's an experience. It's such a crazy
Yeah,
country, really lovely people. It's a really nice country, but it might get a bit crazy, especially
yeah,
compared to like the silent Netherlands. But now I remember the tournament we were playing really well, and our quarterfinal we played against India. And I think that might be the craziest experience on a hockey pitch because the crowd every time India even passed the half line, they were going absolutely crazy. And I was just talking about the Dutch crowd going crazy, but trust me, if the Indian crowd goes crazy, it gets really loud.
yeah.
So that was definitely crazy. And I remember when we were 1-0 down, and then Cherry scored like an equalizer in I think the second or first quarter, and the stadium got so silent. All you could hear was just us screaming, and that was also a crazy experience because I never seen a crowd so silent.
Yeah, I was always the it was in India 2018 and 2023,
Yeah,
and both times in um that stadium where the crowd's just a wee bit above the
yeah,
pitch. It just looks It just looks fantastic, and the crowds again Dutch-esque in the sense that they'll always come out and support the
yeah.
teams regardless of who's playing.
That's
Actually, which
true.
is even
Yeah.
better. It is some place to play hockey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you say, they come to every match. Of course, when India plays, it's definitely
Different.
a bit more crazy. But no, the Indian people they're so enthusiastic. They're so nice. So yeah, I really only have good words about India.
Is there anywhere that you've played in so many places now? Thanks to the Dutch team, thanks to everything. As an international, is there bar Holland? I'm cutting that out straight away. Is there anywhere that you just love to play in? Is there a city, a stadium,
Ooh.
crowds that you just love playing in front of internationally?
I think as far as crowds go, I think India is definitely up there. But Argentina is also nice because the crowd there is also really loud, and they're really involved. So
Yeah.
I think Argentina is also a really nice place to go.
And then is there again a ground stadium team in back home that you like to go and play at? Obviously, Kampong first pitch one
Hmm.
is fantastic. Great stadium round it and seats. Is there anywhere else that you love going and going? You know what? We're always going to get a great crowd. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Anything like that?
Um, I think with other club teams, it's more difficult. I always like the
Hmm.
clubs that have a nice pitch. Sometimes you go to a club, and their pitch is all, I don't know, it's not fast enough, and you're irritated about everything. So that's the one thing I always think about. Like when I think about it, what's a club I like to play, the first thing that comes to mind is how is their pitch. But as far
Yeah.
as crowds go, I think um, well, we played last playoffs in May. We played against Rotterdam,
Hmm.
and that was nice. There were a lot of people. Of course, they had the big stadium as well.
Hmm.
I don't think they really got it entirely full, but there were a lot of people, and I think the atmosphere was nice. So I'd say Rotterdam.
Okay. Um, and when you're like you said looking, is it a fast pitch that you want with a bit of bounce, or suppose every player's different in how they want the pitch to
Yeah.
feel as they play. What's your ideal pitch then?
Yeah, so for me, it's definitely the most important thing is just it needs to be fast. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but like the pitch that was at Rotterdam before the one they have now, I think it's called like AstroTurf, or don't pin me on that, but it was like the only club who played at this kind of turf was Rotterdam, and it was actually
Okay,
the most beautiful pitch to play. And also Kampong,
really.
not their first pitch, but like I think pitch 9 or something. We always train there on Tuesday. It's also a fantastic pitch. Yeah,
Brilliant. And obviously, to play on these fantastic pitches, you need some fantastic equipment, which leads quite nicely into. It seems like you've played with ritual sticks a good chunk of your career. What what drew you towards them?
yeah. So you can definitely say a good chunk of my career. I think I started to play with Ritual when I was 17 or 16,
Okay.
something like that. And it was actually because my one of my teammates, and he later got to be my coach, and he's now the assistant coach of Germany, Pasha Gademan.
Hmm.
He used to work for Ritual, and he was like, "You have to try this. He's a good salesman, so you got to try this." And I was just hooked because I just love the stick.
Hmm.
I've played with the Response 95 my entire life, and everyone's always like, don't you need like a stick that's more bent, and why is it so straight? How can you play with this? But I like the way, especially with straight sticks and especially with the Response, the ball just kind of sticks to your stick, so your
Hmm.
trapping is more easy. Your passing is has way more control, in my opinion. You might not do all the fancy lifts as easy as with other sticks, but my
Hmm.
game is not based around fancy lifts, so that doesn't matter for me. So no, I've been extremely happy with Ritual my entire career, and yeah, I just it's a really simple answer, but I just love the way the stick feels. Yeah,
And I think some people, again, with us being in the shop and people coming in looking for sticks, I think a lot of people do just overcomplicate it and go, I need something to do all of these things that not necessarily is going to do for you. So yeah, you're one of the few people that does still play with that really straight mid bow style
yeah,
stick. Is
yeah.
that just, again, like you said, it suits your game better, especially in the midfield, that sort of key passing spots and things like that.
Yeah, I think it suits my game as well. But I think, like you said, some people just overcomplicate it, and that's not only I think the case with their sticks, but also within the game. I think people are always
Mm,
like, you gotta play the overhead or the lift or like the difficult stuff. But I think the really good players I've played with, their basics were just so incredible. I think, for example, Robert Kemperman, his
mm,
receiving, it was just so top notch that you always felt like he has time left.
mm.
When you see other people, they're struggling to control the ball. He was always so controlled, and I think, getting back to your point, I think that's why I like the stick so much, because it does the basics really well. And I think if you do the basics really well, that's the most important thing in hockey, and the other stuff will come. But um, I think just always controlling the ball, receiving the ball well, it gets overlooked because of, yeah, it doesn't look
All
fancy.
the other things.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
I think if you want to really step up your game, master those things, and do it with a ritual.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, do you have a specific way you like your stick set up? I've asked a few people this. It's been really interesting.
Yeah,
Like certain weight, balance point, extra thick grip, or really thin grip, anything like that.
yeah. So on the weight and balance point, I'm not really. I don't care too much. I always just say
Okay.
do the same as last year. So I don't even know what kind of weight or balance point I do have at the moment, but I'm definitely big on how to grip my stick. So at first I need to take off the like the original grip that's there. I always
Okay.
immediately take it off. Then I wrap it with yeah, not like I use a caracal, but I'm like the other type of grips. I'm like that's better in
Um,
rain. You know what I mean?
oh, like a
Yeah,
chamois grip or a chamois grip. Yeah.
exactly. I didn't know the English word, so thank you for that. I wrap it with a chamois. How you say? I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
saying
You've
it
done
well.
well.
Then I put layers of tape on it, and
Okay.
like the top of my grip, it needs to be a bit thicker than the rest of my grip because at the top of your grip, you yeah, when you hit a ball or anything like that, I like it to be a bit more firm.
Hmm.
And when no dribbling or receiving, I like my right hand to not have such a thick grip. So
Yeah.
so there's a bit of a difference. And then my last grip is Karakal.
Hmm.
And I'm also I don't like people or a lot of people doing my grip. I can't grip it myself.
Oh, really?
I've been terrible. So my one go-to guy who needs to fix my stick before I can play with it is Terrace Peters. I think he's been
Hmm.
doing it since since we've been playing in I think the under 16s or something like that. So yeah, I need him to do it. So then it feels the best. He likes the way he knows the way I like it, and he just always delivers.
Oh, that you've made a lot of people very happy because we do often have a joke with people when they come in with a grip and their stick in their hands and
Yeah,
come into us and go, "Can you put this on?" I know I can't go. Well, you should know how to do this
yeah,
because
yeah.
gold medalist doesn't know how to do it.
I
So
always get the same response. Like, how long have you been playing hockey? How can you not grip your stick? And I'm like, I can do it, but I like the way Dennis does it better. So
fair enough.
yes,
And look, I can't hold that against you. Um, and then so obviously leading into the gold medals and all that, we had Paris, the Olympics in the summer there. First off, I would say very different feeling to Tokyo. Um, obviously results later on very different as well, but you know that was a that was an experience in Tokyo then.
yeah, it's difficult to compare the both of them because yeah,
Yeah,
Tokyo was so crazy. You know, there was like you can imagine there was no one, no crowd, just your mouth guard on the entire time. Stress because of COVID. You know, you had to test every morning, and that didn't bother me too much. But it was just all the circumstances, you know, and we weren't allowed to leave the Olympic Village and you know stuff like that. But I think the biggest part for me was like there was no crowd. So you
yeah,
played, yeah, it was my first Olympics, and you really had to like tell yourself, you know, you're playing an Olympics, you have to go
mm,
for it, and of course you could see the rings everywhere, and that gave you some feeling of the Olympics, but in the end, it almost felt like a test match at some point because
yeah,
it was really difficult to really get that extra motivation I think you need at the Olympics.
hmm,
And then, yeah, comparing to Paris, it was crazy. The crowd was amazing. Like you said before, there were a lot of Dutch people, which made it really nice. But I think also what made it amazing was just the location. You know, Paris is not so far from the Netherlands, so I had been there a few times, and I always enjoyed the city and just seeing all the sports at the crazy locations. You know, underneath the Eiffel Tower. Of course, it's not your
yeah,
own sport which plays there, but it gives this nice feeling, nice vibe, and I think that's what
mm,
made Paris amazing to me, and that's what really stood out. And I think Tokyo didn't have the chance to really show their city and their country like probably the way they wanted to. But no, Paris was amazing, and Tokyo was yeah, it was just a crazy experience.
yeah. Did you get out? So in Paris, were you able to get out a bit more than maybe you thought you would, or was it quite right? The matches are going on where our days off, we're sitting, we're recovering, we'll have a bit of a chat, or could you go and see the beach volleyball underneath the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, so basically it was like we were in the Olympic Village the entire time. So I
Okay.
was just saying we couldn't leave the Olympic Village in Tokyo, but we also really didn't do this in Paris because like the hockey schedule is really intense. I think we played
Hmm.
our 5 pool matches in 6 or 7 days, and after that it was
Yeah.
a game, a rest day, game, rest day, game. So I think the tournament was just too intense to do anything outside of the village. Also because I think people underestimate how big the village is. Like for example,
Hmm.
just walking through the eating area 3 times a day. You walk a lot more than you're used to. So all those things
Yeah.
I think is what why you don't go visiting other sports because you have to stand in line and it doesn't really bring you anything other than might give you the Olympic vibe, but yeah, you get that a lot,
Hmm.
and we got it after the tournament as well. So yeah,
Absolutely. Were you able to get the was it the famous chocolate muffins that were going about in the food hall at all?
I think I ate I think one or two before the end of the tournament, but
Oh,
after
brilliant.
the tournament we did eat a lot of the chocolate muffins and the pizza and stuff. And like at one point our coach, I think when we were there a week or something, our coach also mentioned to the group that you're here to perform, and to his liking he saw a bit too much pizza going around, too much muffins. So he was like, guys, you can eat all the muffins and pizza you want after a tournament, but now let's stay focused and just eat well, eat right. And yeah, when you're there, it's no problem. But sometimes you see him lying there 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might sneak one to your room, and the coach doesn't even know.
Oh, exactly. It fell onto your plate. You've walked away. You have
Not
to
my
eat
fault,
it.
exactly.
Exactly. Someone pushed it. Um, so then obviously the games in Paris. From a spectator point of view, watching, because again we started this doing sort of daily
Uh,
recaps after each of the
yeah.
days. So we watched a lot of hockey in during Paris. The games were all really close, really good games throughout the tournament. Was there any team that sort of surprised you when you were playing them during the groups, that you went, actually, we thought this was going to be a walkover, but it was a bit tighter than we thought?
Um, I don't think so because I think that's the thing about the Olympics, and that's really also one of the experience I took from Tokyo is that there are absolutely no easy games at the Olympics. And
Hmm.
I can understand your question because it's quite common in hockey that you see these big outcomes. But for example, in Tokyo we played against South Africa, and everyone was like, you're going to win easily. And then after the first quarter, they were 3-0 up, and of course, that's a
Yeah.
bit of an extreme example, but I think the
Hmm.
Olympics just really brings out the best in all of the countries, and it's a tournament they've prepared for the best, like in a 4-year cycle. So um, I don't think in that way someone surprised me, but I think
Hmm.
like you have to say Spain. I think they did really amazing
Yeah.
by beating Belgium in the quarterfinals. I don't think a lot of people saw that one coming, and I think I've watched the match that
Definitely not.
they did deservedly so. So I think they played a really really good tournament, and I was also impressed by India. We didn't get to play them, but
Hmm.
just from looking at them, they were really impressive.
Yeah, and actually, the South African team that was there as well, I thought did very well, really quick
Yeah.
forwards on things. So, yeah, it's interesting. I think, like you said, we do in hockey have some of these really big disparities on teams. On, actually, this is a really good team, this bad team, and it can be what we deem here as like a cricket score.
Yeah.
Um, between them. But yeah, certainly in Paris and yeah, even in Tokyo, it was just good hockey
Yeah.
all round, and I think that's why so many people that have never watched hockey before watch the hockey at the Olympics and go, actually, this is brilliant. There's no
Yeah.
walkovers.
No, exactly. And I like my feeling was always like it's also hard, for some countries like at the Dutch team we're spoiled actually because we're one of the richest hockey countries, of course. So we get to prepare like all year round. But I think if you have a bit of a less budget, you need to like think about when are we going to spend it, of course. And I think then all of the teams, they can do a nice preparation for the Olympics. And I think you can really really see it because like I said, everyone's at their best at the Olympics. And well, hopefully a lot of people like you say watched it and think, oh, it's kind of a nice sport. I hope they don't get scared by how fast it goes, and then how small the ball is. Like sometimes
Yeah,
you might not see it as well on TV, but I think it's. But of course, I'm biased. It's a really nice sport to watch and to play.
yeah, yeah. You're just a little bit biased.
Tiny bit, tiny bit.
Absolutely. And then obviously you've gone through the tournament, reached the gold medal match, goes to a shootout against Germany, and you win your first gold medal for yourself, but equally for the Netherlands for 24 years, was it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Did the way the tournament went, leading to a shootout, did that make it better, or was it a bit nervy? When you
Um,
finally got it, you went, right, we've worked hard for this. This is, we can say we've done it properly.
yeah. Well, I think like how you win it, I don't think anyone really cares about it,
Mm,
especially at the time. At the time, because a shootout, of course, it's more spectacular. But if we would have won it 1-0 in regular time, I would have been equally happy. And I
yeah,
think for the like in Holland, it was also a big thing, like the first time in 24 years that the hockey men have won gold at the Olympics. But I think
hmm,
for our team, it wasn't an issue because um, like for the most of our team, it was the first time playing in the Olympics,
yeah,
and for some of it was the second time. So you don't really um, get the feeling like, oh, it's been such a long time, because yeah, well, I wasn't there, so I couldn't do anything about
yeah,
it. So
true.
I think that's the feeling a lot of us had. But yeah, because it was 24 years, I think that the Dutch press and the Dutch media, they also got on top of it, and everyone was really amazed by it, or really happy with it. So I think that definitely gave it a boost in the end. So that was nice for us, and uh, yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. The was it outside the Dutch house in Paris? They were obviously playing the game on the big
Yeah,
screen, and uh, when the final shootout went and everything,
yeah,
you guys started celebrating over the
yeah,
fence,
yeah,
running down towards your keeper, and the crowd there was going absolutely
yeah,
mental,
yeah,
and it was just. I think we're so used to seeing those sort of scenes for the likes of
yeah,
football,
yeah,
and soccer and things like that. So to see it for your own sport, it made it even
yeah.
better. Was that reception the same as when you got back?
Yeah, so I think like you said, the Dutch house where the fans could watch it on the big screen. We got a ceremony that night, so immediately after the final, we had it over there, and I think that might have been the most amazing ceremony, because I don't think I'm not sure how many people were there, but I think like
Yeah,
10,000 or something crazy like that, and everyone was just going crazy, and we were also high on life. So that was really nice. And like you say, yeah, you're not used to it in hockey. And like when we got back home, we were it was a bit less. I think we were also also really hungover as a team because we had been partying a lot in Paris. So the reception over there was a bit smaller and a bit more with just family and stuff, which is also really nice. But I think the one at the Dutch house after the final was amazing, and also the next day we had a ceremony at the Eiffel Tower, like all the gold
Yes.
medalists, and that was also so crazy. Just because of the place here, like what is
Yeah.
happening? It's really nice.
Yeah. That was gonna be one of my questions. That walk out, the champions walk, I think
Yeah,
they called
yeah,
it or
yeah,
something like that. I'm sure that was just walking out, like you said. First off, that location is
yeah,
unbelievable, and then equally to the crowds that were there and everything that was going. Again, something that we don't have in day to day life in
yeah.
hockey anyway. That sort of visibility. What was that just surreal walking down there and going, these people all are just seeing us waving a gold medal and then coming
Yeah, no,
back.
it was definitely surreal. Just like I said, from the location was especially fantastic, and they did make quite a party of it. So the crowd was going crazy. I don't know how many gold medalists they had seen that day, but they were still going crazy. So that's one of the things like you notice with the gold medal of the Olympics. It's a big thing to everyone, like when you get a gold medal from the
Yeah.
World Cup, for example, it's really big to people who play hockey. But people who don't play hockey,
Yes.
they're like, "Oh, okay, good for you to an
Yeah.
extent." But you can, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. And like a gold medal at the Olympics, it's so big because everyone is watching, even people who don't really follow sports. They just like, oh, the Olympics is
Hmm.
on, let me put it on, and that's what I think
Yeah.
makes the Olympics so big, and the impact of the gold medal. You could really notice it. Yeah,
Yeah. And then obviously the day after you had the women's final.
yeah.
And did you guys get out watching that, or was it sitting in the village get watching that? Just
No,
another
we
victory
actually
for the Dutch.
no, we actually we watched it at the Dutch house. So
Okay.
we were just, I think some of the guys went to the match because of their girlfriends who were playing, but
Hmm.
like most of the guys were just staying in the Dutch house because yeah, it's a really dumb reason, but you couldn't get any beer at the finals at like
Fair
all the
enough.
sporting places, and you could get beer at the Dutch house, and we had seen the videos of when Duco scored the deciding shootout, and it looked so amazing, and we were like, oh, we need to be there and
Mm.
be a part of that, and well, it ended up being quite similar to our final actually. So that was a really nice, yeah, nice experience also.
Yeah, I totally agree. Uh, the the next question is: do you have the gold medal tucked away somewhere safe? Is it in the usual sock drawer that you can keep bringing it out and showing people?
No, we actually got like a really nice case to put it in, and
Oh,
there's like a few words and I think a pin as well, and so that yeah, they really gave us a nice case, and it's in my house in a place like where yeah, it's basically a blue box. So if you don't know what's in there, then you're like, oh, why does this guy have a blue box in his house? But no, it's really really cool, and I found a nice place for it, definitely.
oh, brilliant, brilliant. Um, it's going back to sort of Kampong hockey. You won the Hoofdklasse last season,
Yes.
and again, is that obviously it's such a huge tournament, and it's definitely the tournament that I think anytime I've been speaking to people, they've definitely recognised it as one of the top tournaments in the world. Do winning something like that, is that on maybe not quite on par with the likes of a Euros win or maybe a Pro League win, but it's still something fairly special, is it?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I think you can compare it to stuff like a Pro League or Euros, not quite to the Olympics, but I think the thing about like winning the league is that um, um, how do you say it? Like there are a lot of people who really support a club, maybe because their children are playing at the club, or people who just play at the club themselves, or they used to play at the club, and
Hmm.
they get this really warm feeling with the club. So, for example, that's what I really noticed when we won last year the hoofdklasse. There was this big party on in the club, and there were so many people who were just so happy for the club to win. And
Yeah.
yeah, for example, if you win the Pro League with the Netherlands, there are of course a lot of people who are really happy, but there's not this big party with all the fans, because yeah, it's basically too big. Everyone supports Holland, but
Yes.
there are only a few people who support Kampong. So I think that's
Hmm.
that's kind of a difference, and that's what makes it really nice. You spend so much time at these clubs, and you're there every week, 4 or five times. So I think it's a different feeling, but it's definitely equally amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, you'd see, from the photos that went up when you won, it is it's a fantastic club, and like you said, with the amount of people that are there supporting you out every week, watching the games, both men's and women's, all of that, it did just look like a big family party in the end.
Yeah, no, it definitely felt that way, and um, I think yeah, again, that's what makes it special. That it's people who come to
Mm.
watch every week. Not all of them, because it's not as busy every week as it was during the playoffs, but you get what I mean. And I think that's
Yeah.
what makes it amazing, that there's so many people who really want you to win at Kampong, and yeah, that really gives you like a family feeling, and there's people you speak to every week, and yeah, that's really nice.
Was it when moving clubs? Was it the fact that you're moving to a kampong with that sort of heritage and history, and going, these guys are going to help, push me forward, improve my game, which will then hopefully keep me going with the national side? Does that all come into play when you're making a move from club to club?
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the main reasons for me was to improve my game,
Mm-hmm.
just like you said. But on the other hand, it's also that you want to play for a title, play to win, play the playoffs, and stuff like this. Because in the end, it's that's the most beautiful thing about sport, is of course playing for the highest at the highest
Mm-hmm.
level, and for the highest prizes. So yeah, these things you all take into account when switching clubs, and also what kind of team is there in place? Are there a lot of young guys who I can maybe grow with, or is
Mm-hmm.
it quite an old squad? Stuff like this. Who's the coach? All those things I took in consideration, at least, because it wasn't easy for me to leave Almere. But yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to do what's best, what you think is best for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And like going from like the kampong team and the national team, both that have that feel of you've all gone up together. In the kampong side, you've got some slightly older heads, but it's a good age spread. So you know that certainly helps with, you've got certain players there with a bit of experience. I'll use Davy Hart as the
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah. Of
example.
course.
The stalwart of kampong and Irish
Yeah.
hockey. He's got that experience that to help bring you through. But then on the Dutch side of things, it looks like you've just gone up the rank. Under 16s, under 18s, 21s, you've all gone up together, which then suppose making that gold medal a whole lot nicer then as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just like you said, like I think we made it like a picture at the Eiffel Tower ceremony. I was just talking about, I think, with 10 or 11 guys, or maybe a bit less, but yeah, something like that. And with our assistant coach Eric Verboom, we took a picture of the guys who were playing at the under 21s World Cup in India in, I think,
Mm-hmm.
2015. I think it was in 2015,
Right.
2016, something like that. 2016. It was after
Yeah.
Rio. So that just goes to show how long we've known each other. Some of the guys already know each other from the under 16s. And yeah, that definitely makes it really, really nice to win, because you've known each other so long, you've been working towards the same goal for so long, and I think that makes the victory even sweeter. Yeah.
Yeah. And then do you, as players in the likes of Kampong, then have, you know, will you go and help the likes of the under 15 squad every so often with a coaching clinic, or if someone comes to goes, we've got a kid who really wants to improve their injecting at a PC, for
Yeah.
example, would you, sort of go in and help out a good few times, or is it, which I don't suspect it is, it's sort of first 11 team, everyone else?
No, I think like the difficult thing about this is that well, our programs, our training schedules, they're so busy that you're on the pitch every day basically. So I think that
Yeah.
there's not a lot of room for also, for example, training the under 15s or something like that. But I think at Kampong
Hmm.
they're really good at trying also to involve all the other people, but that's not like not only the first teams, but also like the under 8 girls who are just playing for fun. So we do
Yeah.
have some initiatives for those kind of things, that we might give a training or coach a match, stuff like that. So I think
Yeah.
that's really nice and also important, because then as a first team you get their support, because the girls find it amazing, and
Of
they'll
course.
say to their parents, "Oh, let's watch the game," and stuff like this. It just works. But I think um, like at my old club, it was more common that you used to train the under 15s or under 12s or stuff like this. But I think
Yeah.
it's just also because of the programs have gone so intense that yeah,
Yeah.
you're on the pitch every day, and then on Saturday you need to go to the pitch again. So, some of the
Yeah.
guys do it,
Absolutely.
but if I'm being honest, not me.
As you said, sometimes taking a break from hockey is sometimes useful for both yourself and hockey, and your own hockey in
Exactly.
general. You can, if you're there too much, you can get sick of it, which you definitely don't want. And the speaking of off pitch, what are the things, hockey's over, you don't have to rehab your knee, you're nice and healthy. What are the things off the pitch that you just like to do you go for a walk, go travel the place, read a book, anything like that?
Um, well, right now I'm working, so
Well, there's
that's
that
not
too.
really a hobby, but it's also, I think for me, I've noticed that because, like you mentioned in your intro, I have always studied next to playing hockey, and for me it also helps to really get my mind off of hockey. And I think only playing hockey, it can be a bit intense, because you're always
Yeah.
thinking about the next training. And for example, if a training went bad, you're in your head with like, oh, what happened, stuff like this. And it
Yeah.
helps me take my mind off of hockey to also do other stuff, like studying, like doing a bit of work now. um, but I also do like to have a good time, so that's I do like to go. I like to read actually, but I don't really take the time for it enough. But I also like to listen to podcasts, or just go out with friends, have fun, or with my girlfriend, have a nice dinner, stuff like this. I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
not really a hobby type of guy. Like just good friends, good company,
Yeah.
and then I'm sad. Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. um you know Even take, like, hockey's your hobby, and it's gotten
That's
this
true.
far, and then, yeah, you can do bits and pieces after that. Now, this I'll promise you, this is the last question. You've been on for long enough. It's a question that I've asked everybody. It's a very important question, I think. When you are before training or before a match, when you're getting your kit on, how do you put your socks and shoes on? Is it both socks, then both shoes, or is it sock, shoe, sock, shoe?
There can only be one right answer. Of course, you put on both socks and then you put on both shoes. And I think everyone who has said otherwise, don't invite them again to the show.
Oh, there's been close calls. So there has been. Yeah, no, you've made it. Your episode's gonna go out. Everything's gonna be fine. I think Maddie Hint said it in hers that I think she'd be personally shocked or offended that if she looked across and saw a person with a full sock and shoe on and a barefoot, she'd be questioning them.
But sometimes you also get guys in the locker room who've like stripped down naked and they still have their hockey shoes on or like their shin guards on. And like, what's happening over there? Come on, that's not the way to do it.
No, that's a different question altogether. We have to ask that one.
Maybe for the next episode.
Absolutely. No. Jonas, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a great chat. And before you leave, is there anything you want to plug? Social medias, anything like that?
I'm not big on social media, so everyone follow @ritualhockey, the best brand.
Oh, there you go. Well
and
done.
Of course, follow the podcast. I mean, come on.
Oh, that's even better. You can definitely stay and come back then. No, but everyone else, thank you very, very much for watching. Comment below what you thought your moment of, and if you did see me shoot off every so often, it's because the lights in the studio are currently playing up, so that was always fun. So leave a comment below on what your moment of the podcast was. Remember to like and subscribe, and also, which is fair enough, if you don't want to watch my face for an hour, you can listen to us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. But Jonas, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your winter break, and good luck for the second half of the season.
Thanks for having me, and good luck to yourself as well.